Hello, my spooky loves. Right, I've completely jumped the gun and I'm going in with a Halloween design because it was in my head and I can't help it. I'm so sorry. I just couldn't get it out my brain. I made these roses. I didn't know if I was going to use them or not, but I made them. And the colours I'm using in this set are Houdini from Glitter Planet, which is a black with some holographic tiny pieces of glitter. And Opposites Attract from Glam and Glitz, which is a colour shift. Funky Witch Glitter from Smiley's Glitter Store, comes out every Halloween. And Nailmates Clear and Perfect Pink. I'm going to be using my Alina acrylic wand, size 10. And I'm going to use the thumb of my flexi hand because I love a big fat thumb. And my Pro Stiletto tips, which are very low in stock on the website. I apologise, I will get some more in stock ASAP. So we'll get a tip on there, give it a little buff and pop a little clear acrylic on quickly just to seal that in. Then I'll shape it properly. I just find it much easier when dealing with like nice long extensions. Especially on a practice hand, I'd rather just whack a bit of clear acrylic on first and then give them a file and a buff into shape. Just strengthens that bond a little bit. Okie dokie do. So this is how I'm going to sharpen these up. I'm going to use a 180 grit file. And I'm going to go straight along those side walls and bring that stiletto right into a point. Now, the reason I love the Pro Stiletto tips is because where they're not pinched, they're nice and easy to apply. They're super simple to apply. If you get a stiletto tip that's too pinched, it can squeeze the client's nail beds. But you can sharpen these up really nicely to get a stiletto, or you can very easily soften them into an almond. And a lot of people use these to do coffin extensions as well, although I do now have the XXL coffin tips, which have got much more of a coffin taper on them, so they're super easy to use. But all that information's on the website. It's very, as you can see, really easy to just sharpen these up, and because they are kind of like Halloween, I want them really like pointy and fierce. So I'm just taking in side by side so that you don't overdo it in the wrong direction. And I will buff over that seam line where I've stuck the tip on, just because if there's a slight bump now and then you add more product, then a bit more product, then you cap it, you're going to have an uneven nail and it's going to take a lot more filing later on. So if you think there's risk of a tiny little lumpy bump here and there, get it off in the beginning. Then you're done. Sorry if you can hear the dog panting, he's being a butthole. He thinks he can play with the kids, but he can't because his legs don't work properly. So then he gets himself in a tizzy, and now he's all out of breath because he won't listen to mummy. Gonna get my Gerald brush. You know I love Gerald. Everyone loves a Gerald. Put a comment in the description box below if you have Gerald or one of his friends from my website. Let me know how many you've got. I know some people have got the entire collection. They're stunners. Right. On to the next bit, we're going to grab the Perfect Pink acrylic and I'm going to clean this nail down first with isopropyl alcohol on a supposedly lint-free wipe. Let's not get into that, shall we? We already had that discussion. Now, for those of you who don't think the size 10 brush will pick up a big enough bead, look at the size of that bead. And this is on a thumbnail, so yeah, it does pick up a big enough bead. You just got to know how to work your monomer. I'm going to push that bead up. Now, I'm having a particularly bad time with my hands. That's why you're seeing less videos. My right hand, my thumb is swollen all the time and the steroids are wearing off faster and faster. So I'm still waiting to see what comes next from the doctors. But while I wait for my next appointment, I am struggling with it. It is hard. So I feel like I'm not as in control with my work, like with my dexterity. So if I do things that you think, oh, she used to do that a lot quicker, or make it look a lot easier, it's my hand. If your hand fights against you, it's really, really difficult. But, you know, still going. Can't keep the old bird down for long, can you? So I'm just going to add to this and build up the smile line. And I did decide to change the smile line slightly, typical me. So I'm kind of starting to get the shape of it here. I know I need to even out my side walls, that's absolutely fine. But I decided to actually extend the smile line afterwards, because I don't know, I feel like it's a nice long stiletto. I needed to elongate that smile and make it almost not like a chevron, but like a really pointy almond smile line. I just had that urge, so that's what I did. And it's fine, you can do that, you know, it's not a problem. I'll show you how in a second when I get to it. But as you can see, I'm smoothing down those sides as I go. I'm fully aware at this stage that they're not perfect and that I'm going to have a bit of work to do. But I'm just working as best I can. So I'm going to fill in a little bit here. The good thing about this acrylic, I must admit, is I don't get shadowing. So if I need to add a bit, then it doesn't affect it in a negative way. Don't worry about that. I'm going to pat it down and not leave it looking like someone's got a huge growth coming out the side of their face. Look. That's what it looked like. A second nail growing out the first nail. There we are. Okay, I'm smoothing that across. And then I have this thing where I'm like, oh, I want a longer smile line. I'm just not happy. Typical me. So I'm going to grab some more acrylic and we're going to extend it. Just dry the back of the bead a little bit because otherwise it's going to run down the nail. Put it just in front and brush it back. And it's really easy. If you've got an acrylic that doesn't shadow, you'll be fine. You'll be absolutely fine. And I just kind of adjust the shape, play around with it until I've got it the way I want it. But the important thing is, it doesn't matter if you can't do a smile line in 2 beads, right? It doesn't matter, because if you're using a bigger nail, if you're on a bigger nail, then it's going to be harder, isn't it? You know, I can do a smile line in 1 bead on a pinky finger. What matters is that your nail is structurally sound when everything's done, okay? And that it looks damn good. So just don't stress about the small stuff. It doesn't matter. It's all good.
Jealousy suits me, so I wear it quietly. You turn me into a lunatic. Liberate, liberate, don't forget me that way.
So once that's set, we're going to file, obviously. I'm going to use the 180 grit side of my file, and I'm just going to work on that smile line. So the edges on this smile line are quite straight, and it is a very sharp almond. It's not a chevron. It's got a bit more of a swoop than a chevron smile line, but it's definitely not your kind of soft almond. It's a little bit more than that. And I'm just going to make sure that at the end there, you see I swoop the file round, swoop it round, but get those sides nice and straight. Okie dokie. So I'm going to now grab Houdini and just go in along the side into the wings. So I'm using quite a small bead, and I'm just going to use the tip of my brush to tuck that product up into the wings. Try and get a nice even line across the top, so I'll even it out where it's a little bit uneven, so that that smile line's nice and crisp. And then I'm going to start to feather it down, because we're actually going to do a marble tip, but I want the black first because it's really going to contrast against the smile line. So we'll just feather it down a little bit. I'll do exactly the same on the other side. Now, remember, when you're working with coloured monomers or glitters and stuff, you've got to be careful when you put your brush back into your, not coloured monomers, colours acrylics and glitters, sorry. You've got to be careful how you put your brush back into your monomer, because if you dump that brush straight down and squeeze it out, you will contaminate your monomer. So your best bet is to wipe your brush on the toweling, pop it into your monomer, don't touch the bottom of the dish, just let your brush soak up some monomer. Take your brush straight out, wipe it and wipe it and wipe it. And do that until it wipes clear. Then you can like fully submerge your brush and use it normally. But if you start squeezing the edge of the brush on the dish and releasing fluid when your brush is contaminated, your monomer will become contaminated. So I'm using that that purple colour shifting when it shifts to grey, and I'm just going to marble the two. So a bead of this, a bead of that, and just give it a little marble. Have a bit of fun with it, see what it does. I feel like I haven't done an acrylic marble for ages. I'm loving this purple, and the grey that it shifts to is actually really beautiful as well. So when the nail is warm, you'll have a grey and black marble, and when the nail is cold, you'll have a purple and black marble. And both look beautiful. I'll continue that marble down to the very, very tip. Just work with smaller beads. Nice and easy. And we'll just give it an up, down. There we are. And I'll go over the sides and just make sure they're nice and neat as well. So I've not got any like huge lumps sticking out the sides, because then that makes capping a pain. And then we're going to take a tiny bead of clear acrylic, pick up a little bit of the glitter, and start running that just through in little areas, because I just want that sparkle. And this is one of my all-time favourite glitters. There we are. And I will tuck a tiny bit up in the wings as well. But it really complements that marble just beautifully. And then obviously once I've got the glitter where I want it and everything's in place, I'm going to let it start to dry down, because if you cap it while it's too wet, you're going to smudge everything. It's going to move. Now it depends on your acrylic system how fast it sets. I would say the Nailmate is a medium setting. It's certainly not fast. It's a lot slower than other systems I've used, but I like that because it gives me more control and more time, especially when filming, more time to demo stuff and teaching. There's nothing worse than having to rush a demo because your acrylic's setting up too quick. So I'm going to take that clear now. And as you saw, I went over the surface with a bit of monomer before I put down the bead, and that's because I want it to adhere nicely with no air bubbles, no dry marks or anything like that. I want it all nice. I want this bead to smoothly flow over the surface of the nail. Now, because there's a smile line and then a big dip down, because you work really thinly with coloured acrylic, I will have to build up a bit with the clear, but that's not a problem. It's absolutely fine. You just work with your beads kind of medium wet so that they flow nicely but not out of control completely. And I'm just going to keep repeating this until I'm happy with the structure of the nail. So I'm going to leave this to set up, and while it's setting, I'll show you what we're going to be using next. Oh, exciting. So these are the Alina Kaleidoscope crystals. They're available on the website. Everything's available on the website. I was going to use these dragon eyes, but I didn't, but I'm still showing you them because they're stunning. Dragon eye nail charms. Stunning. These colour shifting skulls that go from like blue to a pinky purple. Absolutely gorgeous. Just insane. I've got so many colour shifting skulls on the website, I can't even remember all their names. They're insane. And also these new fairy drops, and this is Dark Matter. They're slightly pointy backed, and they're basically like Crystal Pixie. We call them fairy drops. So here's the nail. Now it's nice and warm. Can you see it? It's gone grey and black. It's set up now. So I'm going to file it off camera because I had to take the nail out because my hands were so bad. And we'll just clean it up now. So it looks quite nice with the grey and black marble. I mean, I prefer it with the purple, but I don't hate it with the grey. I'm still amazed by colour changing anything, to be fair. Even though the whole concept's been going for years, I still go, oh my God, every time it changes. First of all, I'm going to use the Alina pickup tool and my Bling Bond from the website. Bling Blonde. It's your adhesive calling. Oh my God. I need a new brain. And I'm going to use the Kaleidoscope crystals because they literally colour shift every colour. It's ridiculous. I don't even know how they make these things anymore. They're so incredibly beautiful. So, so beautiful. Perfect for any time of year, but I'm really feeling the vibe at the moment with these because I feel like they just work so well with these deep dark colours. And I'm just going to make a beautiful crystal cuff all around the cuticle area. Okay, once that's done, I'm going to take a little bit of Acrogel and smooth it out. Hello, Milo, darling. Let's come for a cuddle. I'm going to smooth it out with my brush and a little bit of isopropyl alcohol because this is where the skull's going to go. And I was looking at the flowers. I wanted to put a flower in so it looked like the skull was wearing a crystal flower headdress. Kind of Day of the Dead inspo, I guess. So we'll just let that all take, smooth out those lines so I didn't apply top coat on it because I really wasn't sure what I was going to do. I was just making it up as I went along. So I've popped the skull on first and then I can measure what I need and the distance I need for the flowers. In my head I was going to put all 3 flowers on there, but they were too big. That's the thing, I'd made them on a whim and I hadn't sized them for the nail. So they were a bit large, darling, a little bit too fat. So I just used one in the end because it was huge. I got a bit excited there for a minute, didn't I? Oops, a daisy. I've got a smaller one I'm going to pop on. I was going to use the black, but he was sitting a bit too proud and I couldn't hold it to file the underneath because it was hurting my hands. So I'm using this little baby one here, which is still really big, but it just sat a bit better. See, look, my skull has a beautiful headdress now. And then I'm going to go around all the edges with some more of the Kaleidoscope crystals. Just press them in. They'll stick really well. I still think they stick better with the Bling Bond adhesive, but I've got the excess Acrogel. I may as well fill it full of bling. I mean, it's rude not to, really, isn't it? And I added a few more because I just kept going. Once you pop, you can't stop, they say, don't they? It's like that with crystals. Just keep going. Look, there's more. There's more. I thought I was done. No, there's more. Because I was going to put the dragon eye at the bottom, but it just didn't look right with that design. Then I'm going to take the dark matter fairy drops and sprinkle them all around the little crevices. It's a really good way to seal in crystals and any annoying little gaps. I've got them available in dark matter and also soft sparkle, which is a very beautiful colour. And it's really good. They just tuck into those gaps and really set off your design nicely. I like it a lot. Any excess, I'm just going to literally just take off. Look, really simple. But they just sit themselves right at home in those tiny gaps. And they don't stand too proud or anything like that. They just look beautiful. So I'm going to give that a good seal in my lamp for 60 seconds. And then I'm going to top coat. Now the nail is still grey because it's been in the lamp as well. It's nice and warm. But after top coating, I did run it down through the cold tap to show you the purple as well. Now remember, don't go over the crystals with your top coat because it will make it look horrible. So once I've kind of got up into the danger zone, I tend to get a detailer brush and pop it in and around everything just to seal it in. Like so. Obviously on a real person I take a lot longer during this process and I have specific methods of sealing the crystals. It's a bit different than on a practice hand. But yeah, if you need to learn more about that, I've got courses and stuff. I've got loads of courses actually. I've got short courses that range from like £10 upwards, and then I've got obviously beginners training, which is accredited training so that you can get your qualifications and buy professional products and gain professional insurance. So yeah, I'm literally just faffing about. That is a technical term. And once it was cured, I ran it under the cool tap to show the purple colour. So here's the finished nail. It's so pretty. I hope you like it as much as I do. I will do an autumn set next. I just got a bit ahead of myself. I got a bit excited. So apologies for that, but I hope you love these as much as I do. All the crystals and stuff will be linked in the description box, and I'll see you in my next video. Tally bye!